Thank you, Ukraine. What is the holdup on a decision allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles inside Russia?
I'm not going to go. I got this question yesterday. I'm not going to deliberate here. I'm not going to get into specifics from here. As I said to Kelly O, I would not expect there to be any announcements on this coming out of this meeting. That's not something that I would expect. There's been no policy change, but what I can continue to make sure that you all know and you see it for yourself is that the president is committed to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to defend itself against Russia's aggression, to defend and fight for their democracy. I'm not going to deliberate.
One of the bigger criticisms of this administration has been that on everything it's ultimately given to Ukraine, the answer was first a no on ATACMS, on HIMARS, on Patriots, on fighter jets, and that if this had just been given to them on day one, maybe there wouldn't be the funding fatigue that Congress now has to grapple with the next time they need help, and that the aid that you guys promote has been slow-walked in the form of a decision to use it.
Let's step back for a second. What this president has been able to do in the past 2 years, really in his entire administration, is fix the reputation of this country that was tainted by the last president. We have to remember how we started, where we started, and what this president has been able to do. People thought NATO was going to be weaker. The president made NATO stronger. We got two more countries that are now members of NATO. That's because of this president's leadership. We have 50+ countries who are now backing Ukraine and continue to do so because of this president's leadership. Ukraine is fighting for their sovereignty, they're fighting for their freedom, and against Mr. Putin, who decided that he wanted to invade. The president has been very clear how important it is to stand with Ukraine and in this time. We're talking about democracy. We're talking about freedom. And if anything, this president's actions and what he's been able to do has shown just that. Because it's not just about Ukraine and NATO and Europe. It's also about our national security as well. It's all connected. And the president's always going to do what is important for the American people. And I think that is what you've seen, and that is what the president's going to focus on and continue to do.
I just remember sitting here, a couple years ago, splitting hairs with Jen Psaki over whether drones are offensive or defensive weapons. I mean, this has been a struggle of this administration that has been a topic of criticism. And now, for instance, this week in the debate, the vice president was promoting what this administration has done in terms of giving Ukraine what it needs, but there's plenty of criticism outside of that to say that it's also effectively blocking a victory by slow-walking these decisions.
I think if you were to ask those 50 nations, if you were to ask NATO leaders, if you were to ask President Zelensky himself, their thoughts on the president leadership, I don't think they would have the words that you just said to me. I think they would say that the president has been a leader during this time and has had their backs. And I think that's what the president has shown. As it relates to what Ukraine needs to continue to defend themselves, we are in regular touch. My colleagues here at NSC, at State, at Department of Defense are in regular touch with Ukrainians on their needs and what they need to continue to fight against this aggression. So I'll leave it there.